Welcome back, everyone. This is the School of Hot Takes. We have been on a bit of a hiatus trying to figure out our schedule here, but we are back. We got some hot takes and we are ready to go. Today, we are going to go over our QB rankings. All three of us filled out a who's better than who quarterback ranking list, and there's a total of 37 quarterbacks. We're going to go over some honorable mentions, go over our top 15, what we agree and disagree with our lists, and have some hopefully good debates and uh, see what each other thinks. So, Dylan, how about you start us out with some honorable mentions from your list, people that were just out of the top 15 for you, or think that uh, they should have been in the top 15, or were just right on the cusp, anything along those lines.
Okay, I can do that. Honorable mentions. Let's see here. I'm going to probably have to say Brock Purdy. He did not make my top 15. Screw
Okay.
Brock Purdy. I will forever say he's overrated. So he could sit right on the outside there. In the same vein, someone I think that's very Brock Purdy-esque would be Tua. Both
Okay.
highly dependent on their offenses, extremely overrated. Can't throw the ball when it's below 50 degrees. Just pretty awful. And then Kirk Cousins, he just didn't make the cut for me either. Those are probably my big three honorable mentions. They were close.
Mhm.
They're good. I would say they're like C plus, B minus level QBs in
Okay.
my book.
Brian, you want to go over your honorable mentions here? Who you left out?
Yeah, I also included Brock Purdy in my honorable mention.
Wow. All right.
I think he's a system quarterback. I know that's a debate in sports right now is
Mm.
system quarterbacks versus game changers. I think Brock Purdy is a system quarterback, and there's nothing about him as an individual, as a player that is like really special. I think you could put anybody in that situation and they would be fine. He actually reminds me a lot of Jimmy Garoppolo, and I think people have talked about that
Yeah.
too, how perfect he is for that system because he is just a guy who's going to go and make the right play. And there's something to say about that. Like he's above a lot of guys that you would say are game changers, are athletes, guys like, below him, I have like Jaden Daniels. I have Will Levis, Justin Fields, Jameis Winston, guys who are going to make big plays, but, uh, you know, I don't think he's got enough talent to carry a team on his own. And the other honorable mention that I wanted to give was Geno Smith. I have him at 20. I think unfortunately Geno Smith one really good year, one really bad year as a starter for the Seahawks. So I think he's just a little bit inconsistent right now. But
Mhm.
again, he is really good at what he does. And I wanted to give him a shout out because I think he could really turn it around this year. He's got a good team around him, some good receivers, and he could ball out for sure.
Nice. All right. I will get into mine. I had Jordan Love right on the cusp at 16. Great year last year and everything. I just think I need to see a little bit more out of him. See if he can stay consistent or if it was just one good year. So I didn't quite put him in the top 15 for me, but he's just right there. Someone else two others actually, I had pretty close at 18 and 19 were both Dak and Russ.
Oh
Um,
my, you have Dak out of the top. Oh my God.
Dak out of the top 15, yeah, and Russ. Great,
Okay.
still good quarterbacks can still get the job done and everything, but I think they're almost past their prime and probably won't be in the league much longer.
Dak is past his prime.
I think so,
Dak,
yeah.
Dak's like going to be one of the most sought after QBs this year when he hits
He
free
is not
agency,
gonna
most
be.
likely. Oh my God, this is
Okay, well, this is going to be a fun
He's gonna
list.
yeah,
fall.
yeah. I see
I
your hot
don't
take
think Dak
right
is
off
gonna
the
have
bat.
much of a bright future left in the NFL here shortly.
Oh
I
my
think he's gonna get
God,
traded to teams. He's gonna
this is
listen.
so.
I have him at 18 right now, so he's still on the cusp of that like top
I
15. But
I challenge you
I
to find any other list that has Dak Prescott at 18. Any other
I'm just
list.
saying, this is my opinion. All right, I
Yeah, we see
think
that.
Dak
Yeah.
he might have a good year this year. He might not. I don't think if they have a bad year, I don't know the Cowboys will stay with him. Honestly, they'll probably move
I don't
on.
think they
He's
will
gonna get
either.
shifted to another team, and depending where he goes, it could just ruin his career. Like
I
it
hope it
totally
does.
could happen. I mean, look what happened with Russ and the Broncos. He failed there miserably, and
Yeah.
we'll see if
He
he does the same thing in Pittsburgh. But I'm not too sure with them bringing in Justin Fields. Russ's career could be cut short here soon, so I could
well,
see
I'll
that
be
potentially
100%
happening with
honest.
that.
if next year like Dak comes to free agent and the Steelers still don't know what to do, I'd rather them go after Dak. So
Oh, I'm not saying Dak's like a terrible quarterback. He's still got potential there, but
no, I see
I'm
what you
just
mean though.
saying,
Yeah,
like
no, I see
if
what
he
you mean.
fails this year with the Cowboys, they cut him loose and he goes to the wrong team, I could see his career plummeting pretty bad.
I think Dak is the definition of a B quarterback. Like he doesn't do anything great, doesn't really do anything bad. He's just a B quarterback, you know?
I
Just a
mean, I
B.
guess I could see that.
I think it's funny that those two quarterbacks were mentioned in the same tier because I think they are very similar. I just think Dak is a better version of Russ at this point. But
Well,
Oh
I
yeah,
do have
yeah.
Dak at 18 and Russ at 19, but
okay,
Oh,
okay.
okay, nice.
if
Well, at
that
least you're
matters at all,
consistent.
but
Yeah, you're consistent. I like it.
So before we get into this 15, because we're on the topic, what do you guys think about Trey Lance?
ugh,
Dallas.
I'm
I
excited.
didn't.
I think I'm excited I want to see if they give him a chance because like if this is true this year and maybe they don't do that well, Cowboys are going to Cowboys. They don't do that good. Get rid of them. I would like to see Trey Lance get a little bit of a shot. I think it'd be fun if they can keep a lot of those weapons they have in Dallas. I think that'd be a fun chance for him to get. We'll see what happens.
I think he was overrated from the very beginning. I don't think he should have been drafted that high when he was. I don't think he's that great of a quarterback. Don't get me wrong, he's probably like athletically really good and whatnot, but I haven't seen too much of him playing as at a starting position where I can judge him totally and accurately. So I mean, there's that issue as well. But I mean, I never want anyone to fail, obviously, but like I don't think he's gonna be like a great
There are some guys who
outstanding the next god of Dallas or anything like that. So
Well, he's so raw, but now he's been able to sit. He's been able to sit. He's been able to kind of
true. I
mature a
mean
little
that
bit.
that does usually tend to help quarterbacks when they are able to sit behind veterans and um, just be able to learn from them. But we'll see. I mean, like I said, it's too early to tell. I haven't seen enough of him play. It's just
Yeah. I agree with Dylan. I hope he gets a shot. If not at Dallas, somewhere else. I think he was a guy I thought they reached for as well. And in the very limited time I saw him play, I kind of saw the vision. But then he just kept getting hurt. So, it's hard to keep someone like Purdy off the field when he's making all the right moves and staying healthy. And then you have Trey Lance, who's, taking less than 30 snaps a season.
yeah.
It's tough to do that. So I hope they give him a chance too. I was just curious. I don't think I've heard many people talk about the flip of that Dak situation where it's like, well, if they do move on from Dak, it has to be Trey Lance probably.
At this current situation, yeah. I mean,
Yeah. So I think they will re-sign Dak, but we can get into that another point.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's get into this top 15.
cool.
Who wants to go
So,
first?
I will go first. I had Justin Fields at 15. I
Okay.
have him in the top 15. Let's listen to my reasoning, okay?
I can't wait to hear your
I
list.
I have him at 15 just because I think he is going to be better than this. I think he's going to be higher than 15 coming into this year and next year, but I only have him this low because of how he played with the Bears. And I more think, and I've said this before, the Bears have failed him rather him failing the Bears. I think Justin Fields is going to be a much better quarterback, top 10 and higher than that potentially, but I need to actually see him need to see him perform. Like,
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Ryan, what do you have to say?
I mean, I have Justin Fields as number 30 on my list.
really?
So for you to take
Okay.
him at 15
I
is
I'm at 24. Yeah.
Wow.
I think Justin Fields has a lot of potential,
hmm
but he is not a starter right now. And I think we will see Justin Fields play for the Steelers this year, but holy hell, man. To put him in the top 15,
It might just be the Steelers bias, but
You
that's
think?
I'm
that's
hopeful.
insane.
I can see him. He's athletically really good. He had bright moments with the Bears, but like I said, the system failed him there rather than him failing them.
Have you seen
And
the
I
play
think
where
if he can play to his potential, I think he can be a top 15, even top 10 QB if he's given the chance and the right opportunities.
have you
seen the
seen the
Steelers
play where
offense?
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
What was
Sorry.
that,
Yeah. Have
Dylan?
you just seen the Steelers offense? We're not really known for like changing QBs much. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, we have Russ, who's probably what do we sign him to a 1 year deal, 2 years, something like that.
It's
So
Yeah, I mean, we
Well,
get him.
Russ,
Yeah,
Russ isn't going to be our long-term solution. We know that, and that's why we brought in Justin Fields. Russ is going to start the season, and if he doesn't put out, he's going to get benched by week 4 or 5. And Justin Fields is coming in. Like Russ is going to be there to teach Fields and be gone essentially. So Fields is the next, hopefully, next quarterback for the Steelers long term. And I think if he can get himself in the system and learn it and learn the offense and get everything going with the wide receivers that the Steelers have historically been able to draft and develop, I think Fields has a really great future and can be a top quarterback.
Yeah, I think Russ is going to have a short leash with the Steelers this year. I think it'll be
Mhm.
like 2 bad games before they start to question putting
Yeah.
Fields in. But yeah, there's just, I mean, you can blame the Bears. I think the Bears definitely did a terrible job of building around him. But I was gonna ask if you guys have ever seen that play where it was just from this last year where he's got Cole Kmet wide open 30 yards in the end zone.
Yeah.
And instead of hitting that, he pump fakes it and scrambles for like -3 yards or something like that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Just one of like
I
the worst plays I've seen
I
by a
know.
quarterback
I
ever.
I'm just hopeful. That's why I have him at 15. But
Okay. I mean, that's your opinion, man. So
Yeah.
we,
And you're
it is a
entitled
hot
to
take,
your
so I
opinion.
appreciate it.
yep.
I appreciate the hot take. I'll go for 15 with my own personal guy that I like to root for, Kyler Murray at 15. I said in the last episode, if it ever gets recorded or uploaded or whatever, not recorded, we did record it, but it's not going to get uploaded probably. I said that Kyler Murray is a dark horse MVP candidate for me. So
Mhm.
I think that there's a really good chance that we start really looking at him as a top quarterback this year. I think his receiver room has been quietly uh, very much improved in terms of getting Marvin Harrison, obviously a huge spike, but then adding guys like Zay Jones, Michael Wilson is still there. Trey McBride is a low key top 5 tight end probably at this point. And so, I think Kyler Murray, this is going to be a year people start to really respect him. This might not be that much of a hot take, but I think at this point it is. I think he's also going to play the entire season. I think that's going to be a huge difference. Plays the entire season, puts up MVP like numbers,
I
and
hope
then
he does. I
starts to
think
put him
Kyler has that potential. He's just been injured and hasn't had
Wee
the
man.
wide
The wee
receiver
man out
depth,
there.
and just it seems something every year is wrong where Kyler just can't hit that magical performance that he needs to. You know what I mean? So
Oh yeah, I'm definitely high. I have him even higher, honestly, on mine. No, I like Kyler a lot. Uh, I think. Wait. Oh yeah, my 15 is the Baker Mayfield show.
interesting.
Big Bake's my 15. Uh, really, only because he plays in the NFC South and they suck. The NFC South is atrocious. He's with the Bucks. He's as long as he plays like he did this year, which is mid as fuck. He's probably going to go to the playoffs, but he's going to do things like his playoff game. I mean, he almost like willed them back in a little bit. It was fun. He ended up throwing a pick, but it's just fun. I enjoy watching him. I never think he will be top 10, but I think we'll always flirt around with that like 10 to, I don't know, like 18 range. He'll always
Yep.
kind of be around. And yeah, he's a cool culture guy. Every team loves him. So, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, so
I will
I think
say
he's good.
I like to cheer for Baker just because of how the Browns did him dirty. Like they
Yeah, I
really
mean,
screwed him over. Honestly, I think that they should
they
have
were all
kept
dogs.
him. Um, I think Baker has potential to be good, but like you said, I don't think he's going to be like a top 10 quarterback ever or like have a super high success rate or anything. But I mean, he's a decent quarterback, someone you can rely on. He's going to get the job done when you need him to. So,
Absolutely.
all right, Dill, give us your 14. Let's just go back to it.
You snake.
14, Justin Herbert coming in at
14.
Pretty
14.
low.
14.
Yeah,
I have him
yeah,
at 9.
I have him this low because once again, and you'll see who my 13 is. Another guy that all the hype is there, but he hasn't really produced. He had a great rookie season, which he wasn't even supposed to start. He wasn't even supposed to start over Tyrod Taylor. He got his fucking lung punctured, and that's the only reason he played in the game. Otherwise, he couldn't even beat out Tyrod Taylor. Let's all not forget that. Had a great season. Cool, whatever. But then the last two have been awful. I think this year will be much better, and I will probably be moving him up pretty directly. But I've been really disappointed. Like, I just want him to do better. As a fantasy man, I've had him 2 years now, and I'm tired of him scoring 14 points, throwing 190 yards and a pick. It's really starting to get to me. So until then, I will not move that man up.
Yeah, I have him
I would
nine
like
on
to
the list.
defend. I would like to defend Justin Herbert just briefly. I have him higher on my list, obviously.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
you do. Yeah.
But I will say this year he played hurt like the entire year. So I just kind of want to put that out there to defend him from
Mhm.
what you just said, because obviously he had some bad games, but he was fighting through injury the entire season.
Oh
And I
yeah.
don't necessarily think that's fair. I think it's also interesting. Another player that you don't like, I kind of compare him to Drake May and Drake May to him. I think they're very similar in play style,
Yeah, well,
but
Drake May's
and
37th on my list, so yeah, I really don't like him.
you know, and
Drake May's
that's a hot
36
take in
on mine.
itself, I fear.
So.
I think it's hard to name, and it'll be interesting to see how you do this. It'll be hard to name 13 arms better than Justin Herbert's arm. So,
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. But if we're going off arm talent, but then again, he hasn't really proved. Like I said, he averaged like 200 yards maybe last year. He wasn't doing much. The year before that, he still only averaged like 225. He's not doing anything crazy, and he's averaging like a pick a game. Like his decision. Let's all not forget that game. Not last year, the year before. Him and Trevor Lawrence both threw 4 picks each half at each other. It's like who could be the shittiest quarterback we've ever seen in a playoff game. So like, I think he got hyped up a ton because he had a great rookie year, and he hasn't even lived up to that rookie year yet. Like he has yet to do that, and I need that back. I
yeah,
need him back. I will be the first to tell you
fair.
when he does that.
Yeah.
I will be 100% agree with you, and I will move him up. But I'm a little disappointed in the man. All right, what do you got, Mitch? What do you got for 14?
I have Caleb Williams,
Okay.
and
Yeah, well, Brian's gonna have him fucking
I
third.
personally I don't like to do rookies super high because I just haven't seen them how they
Now,
fight.
wait a minute, because you also
But
said Caleb
you
Williams was
two
a
have
bust.
like
So is he
shoved
14
it down
or is
my
he a
throat that
bust?
he is going to be a great quarterback and be amazing with the Bears. So I'm putting some faith into him that he's going to do some good here. But I have him right on the cusp of my top 15. He's at 14. I think he's going to do hopefully well, but I still have a little hesitancy to put him any higher. Like I will not put him higher than that for right now.
14 at a bust. That's pretty wild. I hate what do you think of the rest of the guys?
You guys have been shoving it down my throat all these past episodes. Like, oh, he's so good. He's gonna do amazing. He's gonna do the best ever. And I'm like, all right, but
All
I
right, so
just
okay.
I'm nervous.
Different angle. You're telling me the Bears failed Justin Fields, but
Correct, because
Caleb Williams is going to be
you guys
better
have
than
been
Justin
saying these
Fields.
past episodes, oh, they've redone their whole management staff and got all these weapons and their defense is great now. Like all this,
I mean, those
saying
are all
like it's a
facts, though.
whole
Yeah.
new Bears team, and until I see it, I'm just skeptical, honestly. Like
So it took us,
I'm
by the way, it took us 4 weeks for you to get Caleb Williams from a bust into the top 15, but it's taken 5 years, and we still can't get you to respect Lamar Jackson.
correct.
I just want to get the take there.
I more don't like Lamar Jackson because division rivals, but
Okay, all right, that's fair. I'll give you that.
and the style of quarterback that he is. I'm not a fan
All
on
right,
like the mobile quarterbacks.
not a
But
fan. Okay,
we'll get into Lamar Jackson here in a little bit. But yeah.
all right.
How
Okay.
about you, Brian? What's at 14 for you?
All right. 14. I have a guy that I could see kind of moving up or moving down. I have Anthony Richardson here at
Ooh,
14. Just a guy that when he's on the field is super fun to watch. Obviously, the Josh Allen comparisons are there. Big body, big arm,
Mhm.
fast, strong. And the decision making is not quite there yet. So he is almost exactly like rookie Josh Allen. I think the thing that makes me nervous and why he's not closer to 10 is his injury concerns. He did only play 8 games. And the most recent piece of news I saw about Anthony Richardson is that it's not going to change the way he plays getting hurt last year. which is not necessarily what you want to hear from a quarterback. I know that in years past, you've had quarterbacks get injured and then they say, yeah, I got to learn how to slide.
Yeah.
And Anthony Richardson apparently is like, nah, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm going to do. And, he's good at it. So I don't want him to stop running entirely, but the injury concerns are definitely there.
Yeah.
But once again, great arm,
I
really
think it's
great
potential,
athlete.
basically.
Yeah, a lot of potential.
Yeah, I have him at
Yeah.
21 on my list just because, like you
Yeah,
said, only played 8
22.
games. I need to see him play a little more. If he continues to be injury prone, I'm not sure what that's going to lead to. But like you said, I could see him moving way up on the list. It's just, I think he's kind of right in that middle spot right now, like probably top 20, 25-ish right now. But
Yeah.
she,
Yeah, I had him at 22. Honestly, I get more comparison I'm seeing right now, at least with like, and that report kind of confirms it. It's more like an RG3. He was the same way. He refused to learn, just wanted
Yeah.
to put his shoulder out there. He dove, he did everything crazy, and then he barely made it because he was so beat up.
Yeah.
But once again, he was electric, had a great arm, and just refused to learn how to play the style that he needed to protect his body. So I hope he learns from those prior guys because yeah, I would really like to have him higher on my list as well.
Mhm.
And go Colt. I think the Colts are they're gonna be all right this year. They're gonna be real
Yeah,
nice.
they're a
See?
fun team to watch.
All right, hit us with your 13, Brian.
All right, and 13, I have Tua Tagovailoa.
Interesting.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Oh,
I am kind of a Tua hater. I famously I go all back and forth on this guy. Because I think he's a guy that is really inconsistent, and that's why you can't have him higher, even though he just came off of 2 seasons where, legitimately he is a top 10 quarterback in almost every passing stat. But he is a little bit of a system QB. And I think the fact that he's playing with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and he's in an offense that kind of favors what he's good at, which is getting the ball out in lightning speed and not really holding it or running with it or, maneuvering the offense around the defense or anything like that. He's just really good at getting the ball out fast, but it works. It works for that offense. And I think overall, Miami is building around him in a way that is really interesting to see. Getting Tyreek Hill is obviously took them from being probably a mid-level team to being a playoff contender every year. But I think Tua is a huge part of that as well. I think Tua's talents kind of favor Tyreek and favor that offense. And I just got to say also, I know Tua, controversial quarterback, but if you put a guy like Tua in San Francisco's offense, I think Tua would be like an MVP candidate in San Francisco's offense because I think he is a little bit better than Brock Purdy. Obviously, he's higher on my list, but I think he's a little bit better than Brock Purdy at maneuvering. He's a little bit better than Brock Purdy at actually hitting the right guy at the right time. And so I think that's something to look for this year is can he keep that up? And if he does, I think we could see an MVP season from Tua Tagovailoa too. He's really good
The
at doing that one thing.
you're very high on Tua and Kyler, and in my opinion, I see them both kind of in like that same realm. I know they don't play quite as similar, but I feel like they're kind of in that same talent level, I guess. Like
Wow.
they're both.
you think
I
Kyler
have
Murray's
them.
the same
I've
talent level as Tua? What the fuck?
I have Tua at 23 and Kyler at 24 on my list. Like they're right back to back,
Wow.
and it said which one
If
of
we're
those
going
two is
off of
better. Like
talent, that's insane.
I don't know. I'm not super high on either of them. Like they're both athletically gifted. Quarterback wise, I don't know. I'm not super sold on them.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
interesting.
that's just why I don't have
Interesting.
either of those two super high. I'm just not.
Yeah, I mean, Tua was my honorable mention. I definitely think he could get there, but I think he has a very firm ceiling. Like I don't
I
they
guess
will
that's a
never
better way to
win.
put
They're
it.
never going to win the Super Bowl. I can promise you that. He
Ah,
cannot go there
all
because
right.
he can't win cold weather games.
Yep.
He's 0 and like 12 in cold weather games, and guess what? He's always going to have to go to KC or Buffalo, and he's not beating either one. He can't. They
Hey,
physically can't do it. He can't do it. The Dolphins suck when it's cold, and that's all I have to say about that.
that's
When they can do that, absolutely be my guest, but they can't win cold weather games. So good luck.
that's a
And last
two-way
time I checked,
That's a two-way street. I agree. I think he does struggle in the cold weather games, but it's a
Yeah, he's
two-way
never
street
won.
because when the Bills go down to Miami, like this year, the Dolphins just worked them when the Bills came to Miami. So I think it's a situation where, yeah, they're going to play better in warm temperatures and they're going to play worse in cold temperatures. But how much does that really matter when it gets to the Super Bowl? I
Well,
don't
the
know.
playoffs are in the cold, so entirely
Yeah, yeah,
outside.
yeah,
Besides, yeah,
global
yeah.
warming's
So
a thing.
yeah. So how
So
much does that
Come on,
affect? Well,
Brandon.
Kansas City was the coldest
how is global warming
coldest
going to
playoff game
affect Tua's
ever last
legacy?
year.
How
It
is
was cold.
global warming going to affect Tua's legacy?
There you
That's all I
go.
want to know. I just want to know
Yeah,
he's going to ball out the next 10 years when Florida isn't
I
even a
just
state anymore.
Tua's just like mid to me. He's
Yeah,
19. I mean, he's mid. He's just mid.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Uh,
I'm going recency bias for sure. And I
Yeah,
think,
makes sense.
yeah,
But
last 2 years made it hard.
13 for me, I have Aaron Rodgers. I think he is on his last gasp and on his way out. Obviously, I mean, I don't think he has much left in the league. Um, but we'll see what he does with the Jets. I'm not very hopeful. I mean, it's the Jets, to be honest. Like they can bring in all this talent and coaching that they want, but I don't know that it's going to be there. I mean, we saw some of that last year. Obviously, he was hurt, but like the Jets, even though they brought in all these coaches and talent, they still were what? How many games did they win? 6 or something, if that.
Yeah, I think it was 6.
Yeah,
yeah,
something
6 or
like that.
7.
So it's
No,
like,
7. Yeah, they won 7.
yeah, right around there. Like he's probably going to make a little bit of an
I think
impact,
he's worth
like
2 games at
more of
this
an
point. Maybe
impact.
2 games.
What's that?
He's probably worth 2 games at this point, and like 2 more games. I'm thinking
Yeah,
they don't
like
win more than 9.
I don't think he's going to make that huge of an impact where the Jets are going to be like this amazing team. And I think there's just better quarterbacks in the league at this point now than him. Like I said, he's on his way out. He probably doesn't have much long left in the league. So I have him still in the top 15, sure, but like I think he's probably close to being out of that list.
Yeah, I had him at 21. I think he's done. So I had him way
Yeah.
down.
I mean, it's fair. I could see him even out of the top 15 now, but
I put
based on
fellow
his
Achilles tear
legacy.
Kirk Cousins 1 ahead of him.
Yeah, I don't know if it was on an episode that got posted or not, but I mentioned, last time we saw Aaron Rodgers play football, he looked really bad, and now he's
Mhm.
2 years older than that with a torn Achilles tendon.
Yeah.
I just don't know how good of a quarterback we're going to get there. I think
Yep.
the thing that makes him good at this point is the fact that he can get on the field, he can read defenses, and he can change things up.
Exactly.
So,
I had him this high pretty much just based on his legacy and history within the league. And like I said, I could like Dylan has him at 21 or something. I could easily see him out of the top 15 right now as well. Like,
yeah,
Where did you have him, Brian?
22.
yeah.
Okay.
So
22. I had him. He's below Kirk Cousins, which I think maybe
Yeah.
I would switch them a little bit, but yeah, that's tough. Like I said, he'll probably win the Jets a couple more games. I don't know if he's gonna look really good doing that though. It
Yep.
might be a lot of check downs and out routes and easy stuff
Yeah.
for him, but it'll be interesting to watch that team play too for sure.
how about you, Dylan?
Facts. 13 was my only rookie that made it on the list because I can't, you can't tell me you can put rookies on a top 15 and they've never touched a football in the NFL.
No,
Like
that's fair.
That's my
I just can't. I can't do that. So I have Caleb Williams at 13. That's the only one that's going to
Okay.
make it on my list. And that's off of pure hype alone and the fact that I have him there. I have all the other rookies dead last. They're all 34, 35, 36, besides Michael Penix, of course. He's a little higher. But yeah, no, Caleb Williams, I just think the Bears have done more than enough to put everything they can around him. So if he doesn't succeed, I'll honestly be a little disappointed given how much effort and how much firepower he has around him. So yeah, I'm excited to see it. I think we'll do well. I think they also won 7 games last year. I think their over under for the season is 8 games. So they'll probably be in that 8 to 10 range, most
Mhm.
likely. Is what I would guess.
Cool. All
I
right,
like,
hit us with
I
your
like the pick.
12.
Wait, me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh shit, my bad. My 12 is Dak Prescott.
Okay.
So that's where I've got Dak.
All right.
Originally, I thought I was going to have him higher, but I'm actually kind of happy where he came in on this list because he's another one of those guys. I think he has a very once like a Tua. He has a firm ceiling. We've seen it every year. Besides his rookie year when he had prime Zeke, he just doesn't get it done in the playoffs for some. I don't know what reason. He's a regular season god. Him and CD Lamb destroyed all passing stats. He gets to the playoffs. They do the same thing they do every year. They just choke. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I think if they don't get to the NFC Championship this year, I would probably assume they're not going to keep him because I think he wants close to 60 million a year, which is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to put him in the top 10 last year. I would have him in the top 10, but I put him down a little bit right now. So yeah, I think that's where I'm going to keep him. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I mean, I'd just like to see him get established and like actually put up consistent numbers in both the regular season and playoffs. Like just,
yeah, that's fair.
I think
that's
if he moves on, depending on where, like I said earlier, what team he goes to, it could just ruin his career. So it's
Brian, what do you have to say? Being
for me for right now,
being a big Dak fan, you're a big Dak fan.
Yeah, we'll talk about him later. I got him a bit higher up, so we'll talk about him later.
Well, I'll jump into my number 12 here. I have Kirk Cousins.
Ooh,
I don't think he's gonna stay in this list long, in the top 15 for long. I think he's gonna have a decent start to the year. Might be able to put out and have some great numbers, but I don't think his career is gonna last long.
Yeah, the Falcons drafted the quarterback in the first round.
I know
it's not there for long. That's for sure.
I couldn't put him in because he had the same
big deal, but like
Achilles scares me.
I don't think Kirk. I think the Falcons made a mistake signing him for that big of a deal and that long. I don't think he is that great of quarterback, I guess, to earn that deal. Sure, he can. I kind of see him almost like a Baker. He can come in, play really good football, and like get you the results you need. But is he that guy who's going to lead you to the Super Bowl? No, I don't think
you have him at 12.
I understand, but I think he's going.
Yeah, I feel like if you have him at 12, he can probably win a Super Bowl.
I think he's going to fall out of that list pretty quick.
Okay,
that's fair. He's got that Achilles. That scares me. He's 37 with an Achilles, that's tough.
I could see Kirk like falling out of the top 15 pretty quick this year, but I'm hopeful right now, so I'm putting him at 12. But like I said, I'm pretty sure by the end of the season he's going to be like down near the bottom of the starters.
That's 2 consecutive guys for you coming off of a devastating injury,
right?
Old age on a new team. Love that for you. We'll see how that turns out.
We'll see.
I think I have my most controversial pick here at number 12, so I'm excited to see your guys' reaction to this. Number 12, I have Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts is not a top quarterback. I think as time has gone on, I think the league is kind of waking up to the fact that he is not a real top 5 quarterback. And I think a couple of years ago, maybe 1 or 2 seasons ago, I could have maybe flirted with the idea of putting him top 6, top 7. And maybe I even had him, if I went back to my old lists, probably had him 6 or 7 on some of those lists. But I think he's an extremely limited quarterback. I think he does things well, obviously. I don't want to get into the habit of doing what Mitch does and complaining about my pick and being like, oh, it kind of sucks. But I feel like I have to defend that because I see him in a lot of top 10 lists, and I just don't think he's quite there. I think he's really, really good. He's a franchise guy. He's going to get you to the playoffs consistently, and he's going to do it with his feet. He's going to do it with his arm. He's going to do it. Obviously, the tush push is huge. He's going to do it on the 1-yard line. There's a lot of things he's really, really good at. However, I don't think he's one of the elite quarterbacks in the league. I think that there are a few guys like Anthony Richardson, who has a higher ceiling than him. Kyler Murray probably has a higher ceiling than him. There's just a lot of guys with higher ceilings. Desmond Ridder, higher ceiling, probably.
Okay.
Way to sneak that in there.
Just a lot of guys. Will Levis, I think Will Levis is somebody who I think he's not on my top 10, so don't worry. But Will Levis is a guy who I could see kind of being like Jalen Hurts and maybe being a little bit better because the arm talent is better. But yeah, so
I definitely agree with you there that Jalen Hurts kind of fell off like you said, a couple years ago, probably top 10, even top 5 discussion. But I think right now, just based on mostly last season alone, just how they sort of like fell apart there. It's just, and it could just be management with the team itself, like something going on in the background. But I think he almost got found out and how he plays. And I think teams are starting to catch on and adapt to him as well. So I think
Yeah.
unless he changes, it's going to be a bit of a struggle for him. So
Yeah, I also I think I agree. Yeah.
cool. All right, Brian, this with 11.
All right, 11. I got Jared Goff. I don't like Jared Goff a whole lot as a person and as a quarterback. But I being completely unbiased, I famously have said that I think the Lions will not win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff. I kind of stand by that, but I have to be a little bit unbiased here and say, yeah, I think Jared Goff is a really good system quarterback, a really good field general archetype, if you will.
Yep.
He gets the ball in the right spot at the right time, and he's consistent. And so, again, do I think he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, a guy who's going to go out there and carry a team through 4 playoff games and win a ring? Probably not by himself. I mean, if he had a good defense, good offense, we'll see how the Lions perform this year. But I do have to respect him, and he's just outside of my top 10 at this point. I can't put him in top 10 for sure. Again, my top 10 quarterbacks, all of them can carry a team. I think Jared Goff can't quite do that.
Yeah, I have him at number 8 on my list. I don't know that I completely agree with it just based on how they ranked these. I know I did the ranking theoretically, but there's another quarterback up here that I don't think deserves higher than that even. But yeah, Jared Goff, I'd probably say is right around that, like you said, 11, maybe 10 spot. So yeah, like you said, I kind of agree with all your points. He's just sort of like the system quarterback, knows how to lead a team, but I don't know that he's going to be that Super Bowl guy. So
I'm on the other side of this where very similar to where Brian is going to probably come in and say about Dak Prescott. I'm on the Jared Goff where I think Jared Goff is infinitely better than Dak Prescott. So I will have Jared Goff much later in my list. So
Okay.
I will hold my
Okay.
I will hold my
There you go.
takes of Jared Goff.
Okay.
all right, I know Brian's going to hate this one, but I have Josh Allen at 11.
Excuse me?
Yep. Okay, don't too.
Okay. Your
Sorry,
list
just let
has
me-
already been you can't walk out of this. You can't talk your way out of this. You
I bet I
can't
can.
find you can't no you can't. You can't find 32 GMs that
I
promise
Listen,
you
let
can't.
me just say why he's at 11 for me.
This is awful, but okay.
I could easily make an argument and agree with you guys at top 10, yes. Like I
He's
said, this
two.
list,
He's two
Nobody-
unanimous.
Nobody
Listen,
is
hold
going to
on.
take this podcast seriously with this
Yeah.
take.
hold
Yeah.
on.
He's outside of the top
unanimous.
10, Mitch. That's
Yeah.
insane. To
Hold
me.
on.
Yeah.
I think he is a great
Oh, God,
fantasy
whatever you're
quarterback.
Oh my god.
Oh my
But-
God.
Shut the fuck up.
I don't think he's gonna get you to a Super Bowl potentially. Maybe. I don't even think he's gonna win one, not even close.
He has to go against Pat Mahomes. If
Exactly.
he was in the
That's why
NFC,
he's never gonna
if he
be
was
in
in the
that.
NFC, he beat the brakes off Brock Purdy every day of the week with his fucking left arm.
If it wasn't for Patrick Mahomes, there's a chance Josh
Yeah.
Allen has 2 rings right now. Like,
I
I'm not
don't-
even lying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
No, I just think the AFC is too stacked for Josh Allen to seriously
Yeah.
win this league.
He's
I think there's better
unanimously the
quarterbacks in
second
the
best
league than Josh
quarterback.
Allen.
To make it in this league? Is that what you just said about him?
To win the ultimate game at the end, sure, yeah.
You realize he's the only QB to really like give Patrick a run for his money ever.
Not ever. Come on, Dylan.
Pretty much ever.
Brock Purdy. Him and Brock Purdy. Jesus Christ, dude.
I
All right, well,
I
I
can
think
make
me and
the
Dylan have
argument
both
top
alluded-
10, sure. Like I
Yeah,
said,
he's unanimously
this
two,
list is
Mitch.
not completely accurate. Okay, he's
You-
at 11 on my list, and there's another quarterback later on that I'm going to talk about that should not be in the top 10 or even top 15.
I
But
I
I
can't even listen to the rest of your list. To be
this is just what it
honest.
says on the list, okay? It says it
You
puts him at
we said
11.
we could change it around. You could have looked at that and been like, "Oh fuck, I can't have Josh Allen at 11." He's
I
he's
think
the second best
I'm not
quarterback.
upset about it though. Like,
You're right. You're right. So if you're telling me you were a GM, Bills call you up, yo, you want Josh Allen, and you're gonna be like, "Nah, I'm good, man. I'm good."
He can't make it
No.
in this league. Is his
it
exact
depends
words.
who I have as well.
Ah.
Like, if I have
I've
someone
got
else,
Brock Purdy. I got Brock Purdy. I'm good, bud. I'm
I
good.
all I
would
gotta
keep
say,
Brock Purdy.
I
Oh
can't
my
wait to
God,
see.
you would keep Brock Purdy
Oh
over
yeah,
Josh Allen?
I am a
You're
big
gonna
Brock Purdy supporter.
Yeah, this podcast has been delegitimized. So no one's gonna listen.
Whatever.
Who's up? Who's up to give
Dylan,
their
give us your
Yeah,
11.
Yeah. My 11, so I'm not going to spend much time on it because Brian already hit all the points. My 11 was Jalen Hurts, so I just had him one higher. So
yeah,
I
okay.
had him, yeah, I just had him one outside. The only thing that's going to change, I had him over Dak Prescott, just only for the fact that I think his running is a little bit better. Dak, when he used to run before he got hurt, I might have put him a little bit ahead because he actually had some wheels on him. I just think he's made himself a little too one-dimensional now, and I don't like that. And I like if Jalen Hurts can get back to what he was passing wise 2 years ago, continue with the rushing as well. I think that would make him pretty solid. So that's all I really have. I'm not going to spend much time on that.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I like that take. That's good.
Cool.
So
All
where
right.
we at? We at 10 now?
Yep, let's get
Yeah.
into top 10.
I had Big Trevor Lawrence at 10. I wish I could put him higher. He's pissed me. Honestly, I'm going to say the exact same thing as Justin Herbert, besides even more, because Trevor Lawrence was supposed to be God reincarnated. He was supposed to be the greatest thing since fucking sliced bread, and he's not lived up to it. Brian and I had a huge talk last year. We were both going to go for him in fantasy because we thought he was going to have his breakout year.
Mhm.
He ended up being absolutely mid as fuck. And it was, I think they went like the first game, they were like 1-6. They were really bad the first couple of games. Then he ended up getting hurt at the end. But I just need to see more. Like he has all the intangibles. He has the size. He has the arm. He has everything. He just, for whatever reason, they can't put it together. He had Calvin Ridley last year, and it didn't look very good. So yeah, I'm just honestly out of disappointment, I'm going to put him at 10.
Okay.
Yeah, fair.
I mean, all good points. I don't know that I agree with it. How low he is on my list. That mine has him at 20, but I mean,
Oh my God.
yeah, I'd probably put him right on the cusp of the 15.
Mitch, if people listen to this and we should have
Listen,
just posted
I
Mitch's
don't
list.
completely agree with this, where they have each person on this list.
No, I get it. But holy shit.
I'm going
Mitch.
based on what this says, and I'm giving my opinions based on what it
Oh
says.
no, I'm changing mine as we go. Like mine's way different than what it. Yeah, I'm changing because I didn't like how the list printed it, but I can just do it in my head where I realistically want it to be.
When I figure out how to make TikToks, I will be posting each of our top 15 lists, and Mitch's is going to get roasted.
Every
Just
podcast
saying.
we've done is Mitch is going to get absolutely roasted.
Oh, it's so funny.
All right, at 10, I have Matt Stafford.
Okay.
I think he's just had great success in the league. I mean, being on the Lions, working with what he had there, he made it work even on the Lions. I mean, obviously didn't win playoff or made it to a couple playoffs, but still wasn't that huge game changer, I guess, until he moved to the Rams. And once he got there to a better system, I think it just propelled his career, I think. Obviously, he's older, probably on the decline. I don't know if he'll be a top 10 QB this year, obviously, but I think based on his legacy and what he's done, I think he's definitely a top 10 quarterback right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like
I'll
it.
jump into that because Matthew Stafford is my 10th quarterback as well.
Mhm.
There's just not many players who throw the football like Matt Stafford. Even at this age, his mobility is definitely less than
waning,
at this
but-
point. And injuries have stuff to do with that, obviously.
Yep.
But in terms of straight up arm talent, there's not 10 better guys. Like he's definitely in that top 10 somewhere. And I think one of the things that made me put him this high is, and I maybe would have put him even higher, seeing CJ Stroud talk about Matthew Stafford and talk about how Matthew Stafford is a quarterback's quarterback.
Yeah.
Like you want to learn how to throw the football, you watch Matthew Stafford throw
Stafford,
the
yep.
football. And yeah, so I think just knowing that, knowing how he's respected by some of the talent that's kind of coming up. Patrick Mahomes, I think a couple years ago also said like the guy who taught him or showed him how to make off-platform throws and how to throw sidearms and stuff like that was Matthew Stafford. So I think just based off of that, based off the respect and the fact that
Mm.
he's managed to kind of, for the most part, stay upright on like Rodgers and Kirk, some of
Yeah.
those other older guys. I think that garners him a top 10 spot for sure.
Agreed.
I think I'm next. I'll
Yep.
go ahead and hit you with my number 9, and that would be one Dakota Rain Prescott at number
Okay.
9. I figured
right.
number 9, good spot for him. Again, you guys have spent a little bit of this podcast shitting on Dak Prescott, putting like fucking 18 and
Have we done it enough yet, Dylan?
I had him at 12. I had him at
Well,
12. Come on.
I think unlike you guys, I do think that he is an NFC Championship caliber player. Super Bowl, I don't know about that. But I think he is really, 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 really good. I think when you watch his film and you watch him play, I think he's a little bit underrated in terms of a passer. I think he's aggressive when it calls for that, and he's conservative when it calls for that. And he wins games. And again, just like I said with Goff, just like I said with Tua, these are guys who are going to get you to the playoffs regularly, and they're going to do it, and they're going to look good doing it. Now, obviously, the playoff success is something to question a little bit, but I
Bad.
don't think he's less of a quarterback because maybe he gets a little bit nervous in the big games. I don't know. Maybe that's just a James Harden fan also coming through here and talking about not being able to
Yeah.
compete in the
Excuses. It's
playoffs.
fine. Yeah, it's fine.
But yeah, I think that's actually a good NBA comparison for him. A guy who's going to put up crazy regular season numbers and then kind of just falls short. But, I don't think we can take anything away from his ability as a quarterback just because he can't win some games in January. And that's the only good thing I'll say about the Cowboys probably for the rest of the season. So,
There you go.
yeah.
Cool. At 9, I had Justin Herbert. I think he's kind of in that cusp of the top 10 right now. Hopefully this year with Harbaugh coming in, he's going to do hopefully better. I think he just has a lot of potential, honestly. He's young, knows how to throw the ball, he understands the game very, very well. I think he's going to be a great sort of like manager type quarterback, like understands how to read defenses, knows what to do. I think once they just get the system down, he's going to be easily top 10 and may even shoot up higher than where I have him at 9. But I think for right now, I think 9's a pretty decent spot for him. I just think there's a lot of potential there for Justin Herbert.
Yeah, if you asked me this a year ago, I definitely would have put him still in my top 10. But yeah, just obviously, like I've said earlier, I just can't. He's really pissing me off with his lack of consistency. Yeah. But no, you made all good points. If I was going off, if this list was on talent, my list would look a lot different.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to take in factors of playoff success, regular season success, talent, all of that combined, and that's why I just couldn't get him in there. But obviously, most people I'm sure would have him there because that's a reasonable. He's probably a top 10 QB.
Yeah, I agree.
We'll talk about him.
9. I'm not going to spend any more time because I just had one up. I had Matt Stafford at 9. You guys had him at 10, so I'm not going to spend any more time on that. I just fear that he's going to have kind of that ending to his career, kind of like a Big Ben, where like they're going to keep him on too many years because of the arm talent, things like that. I mean, he already lost his mobility. I just get a little worried that I hope he doesn't have such a huge downfall because Big Ben's last 2 years were disgustingly awful to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping Matt Stafford kind of has like a ride off in the sunset. Maybe they get first round of the playoffs this year, kind of get bounced, something along those lines. So
yeah, I like that take.
All right, who's your number 8, Dylan?
Number 8, my boy Kyler Murray. This is where he comes in.
Yuck.
I know. I see your face, Mitch, because you're fucking swine. You got 11 at fucking Josh Allen. I can't even talk. I have Kyler this high, one, because if we're looking at, here we go back to the talent thing. Talent-wise, if he was 6'4", it'd be over. He'd probably be in the NFC playoffs every year, very deep in the NFC playoffs, because he'd probably be able to stay a lot healthier. Being 5'10" and a half or whatever the hell he is makes it really tough when you're getting tackled by the large human beings. But I think his mobility and just the way he can escape the pocket just adds that element. I'm really excited, like Brian said earlier, just the weapons they have around him. I really think he's going to do good this year. And yeah, I think it's criminal not to have him in the top 10 based off of just what he could do if he
Right.
wasn't on the shit ass Cardinals organization.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's the only mistake of my list is I think I would have wished I put him higher. Assuming he stays healthy, and I'm assuming with this list that everyone's going to play all 17 games, and that might not be true, but assuming he stays healthy, I think he's better than 15. I think he is closer to the 8 to 12 range, like Dylan just said. So I'm rooting for him.
Cool. My 8, I think this is actually a pretty fair spot for him, is Jared Goff. I think his career with the Rams, never like a really bad quarterback there, took him to the Super Bowl. I think he had pretty good success with the Rams, and of course, moving to the Lions. Of course, it wasn't all him, but still, like, he helped turn that franchise around essentially. And I think he's just going to have a lot more success there for the time being. I think he's going to continue to put up great numbers. I think he's going to have just a really good career. And I don't know if he'll stay with the Lions forever, but I think in that system, it really suits him well. So I could see him consistently being, like, stat wise, like a top 10 quarterback.
Well said, my boy. Well said.
Yeah. I the only point I wanna bring out is that I think it is worth noting that the Rams got rid of him because they thought he couldn't win a Super Bowl.
And that's
And
fair. I
so I
mean,
see a lot of Lions fans kind of hyping him up and being like, "Oh yeah, we're Super Bowl contenders," and they
Yeah.
kind of forget the most important part of winning a Super Bowl is the quarterback.
yeah,
You know,
I
you can
think.
have a really good team, but at the end of the day, it's always the best quarterback that wins it. So
Yeah, I think how you guys see Kyler being that 8 to 12 rank, I see sort of Jared Goff being in that range, sort of somewhere in that 8 to 12 range every year, at least for the time being.
yeah,
I think he's
that's
just
fair.
gonna float in that position essentially.
Yeah, that's fair. My number 8 is Trevor Lawrence. I think again a little bit. Dylan just talked about Trevor Lawrence. I think I'm a little bit higher on him, honestly. Like, I think he has shown that he is a franchise guy. I think there's a lot of weird narratives around here with Trevor Lawrence. I think a lot of people want him to fail, but I think in terms of just pure skill as a quarterback, I think he's a top 10 quarterback pretty easily in terms of skill. I think my biggest issue with Trevor Lawrence, and it's something I noted when they lost that playoff game against the Chargers, or I don't even remember what the fuck happened there. I think they won it. But that was like the first time I'd seen him locked in, is that game where the Chargers blew that huge lead in the playoffs. And so if he was locked in every game and he was balling out like that, he would be a top 5 quarterback. I just think he's kind of on a team where, things aren't really happening a whole lot. I think he's just a guy who like doesn't want the spotlight, doesn't necessarily want to go out and make crazy plays. I think he's just kind of okay with being middle of the pack. But I think when he's shown out and he's like actually played, I think it's clear to see why he's been like regarded as this like top prospect for his entire life. Like, he is that good when he wants to be. Unfortunately, we don't always get to see that version of him. So that's why I have him a little bit higher. And again, he could go up to top 5 if he locks in for a season. He could go down maybe to 10, 11, 12 if he continues to play the way that he's been playing. So,
Yep.
but yeah.
Cool. All right, hit us with 7. What do we got here?
And 7 is where we have Caleb Williams.
Interesting.
Jeez, come
So
on. He's
high.
never played.
Ryan.
He cannot be a top 10 if he's never played.
I think Caleb Williams is I don't know if you guys have watched Caleb Williams play football, but dude, it is really fucking good. He looks better than Joe Burrow did in college. He looks better than
You
Trevor
can't say
Lawrence
that he
looked in
looks better than Joe
college.
Burrow.
He
Joe
does.
Burrow had he broke all the
Ryan.
NCAA records.
This
his
is
year.
where people are going to
And
question the
yet,
validity of the
and
podcast.
and yet he looked better. USC is a worse team than LSU, and I know Joe Burrow's LSU season is one of the best seasons of college football ever. However, let's not talk about Ohio State Joe Burrow. Okay, we're not talking about Joe Burrow that like failed out of Ohio State because he couldn't run whatever system that they were running there and went to LSU with some insane receivers, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson.
That's right.
Caleb Williams has not had the help that LSU has had, and that's
Oh,
just
really? Not like the NFL receiver that's on the Vikings right now,
what do you mean? What are you trying to say?
Addison.
Oh,
You're
Jordan
forgetting Addison
Addison
last year,
is
or the
so answer this question: is Jordan Addison better than Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase?
no, but
Okay.
also he just got another receiver drafted this year, so he has NFL talent. He's got NFL talent.
And who was the guy that they drafted this year? Was it Brendan Rice? Are you talking about
Brandon
Jerry
Rice
Rice's son?
and the other. There was two off of USC that got drafted.
I don't remember the other guy. I don't know where he.
They're not okay. They're not as good. Obviously, they're not as good as Jamar. Like
Yeah,
two of the top QBs are the receivers, but at the same time, he's run. This year wasn't not that good for Caleb. Like he
look at.
ran around. He tried
I'm
to make a
telling
lot
you.
of magic happen that he
I'm
probably
telling you.
shouldn't
Look
have.
at the. But there's a reason for that. Look at the offensive line play. Look at the
Oh,
offensive line
absolutely.
play. It's
I
really bad. And the Bears, not a much better offensive line, if I'm being honest. But it's better than USC's. And I think the
Yeah.
coaching is better than USC's. The receivers are better than USC's. And I think you're putting one of the best college quarterbacks to ever touch the ball. And you're putting him in an offense that's kind of built around him. I think he will finish as a top 10 quarterback this year. And I think next year, this conversation is going to be, oh, well, it was obvious that he was going to be a top 10 quarterback, but nobody wanted to like put him there.
yeah.
And I think I'm just going to be ahead of the
I
curve
like
in
it.
this one. I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to trust the tape. I'm going to trust the arm. I'm going to trust everything I've heard about him. And I'm going to trust that he is a top 10 quarterback.
I
And
think he
if he's
finishes somewhere
outside of the
around
top,
15.
if he's outside of the top 15, stat wise or whatever, you know, maybe he's hurt, whatever. But if he's outside of the top 15, he plays a full season, I'll eat crow. But I think he is. I would take him over all of the quarterbacks that we've talked about so far, except for Josh Allen for some reason at 11.
Yeah,
But I would
he
take
is.
him over almost every other quarterback that we've talked about for sure.
Okay. Even Dak Prescott,
I would take him over Dak Prescott. Yeah.
Matthew Stafford,
Yeah. Right now? Yeah, absolutely.
Old.
Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Obviously, Dylan, he has him.
I have,
Williams
I have him
is
higher
higher
on
on
the
the
fucking
list.
list.
So
Jeez, I don't know, man. I just can't. I just
it's
can't.
too
You can't
high.
put a rookie.
I agree.
He's never played. You can't do that. It's
But
just
he's
insane.
played football. We've watched him play football.
Yeah, but the jump.
we
NFL
know
We've
he's
seen
is
good.
we've
so
seen a
different
million
from
really
college
good
football.
QBs. We've seen a million college QBs. I mean, the hype's been there for so many of these QBs.
Yeah. I just think he's different. I think I wasn't high on Bryce Young or CJ Stroud last year. And I think both of those guys had worse college tape than Caleb Williams. And I just think that lends a lot to say, hey, this is not just another QB that's getting hyped up. This is like something special. And like I said, go watch UFC's film and he's still making magic happen, but with a terrible team and a terrible offense. So we'll
I
see. I
like
think
it. I
that's
like the
excited
take.
to see.
It's
I'm
Excited.
excited.
it's a bold take. I don't know that I agree 100% though. My 7, I have Jalen Hurts. I sort of touched on him earlier. I think he athletically is really good and has the potential to be a great quarterback. I think teams just may have found out what his style is or something. If he needs to change something, I don't know if it was just chaos in the Eagles coaching staff or what, but I think if he can turn it around, he's still going to be like a top echelon quarterback. I think his future career is going to be great. I don't I really don't have too much bad things to say about Jalen Hurts. I think he's a great athlete and great quarterback. I mean, I just have him so low on this list just because of last season mainly and a few low lights with maybe some decision making, but I mean that's pretty much it. Like I think has really good potential.
Yeah. Yeah. 7's a bit high
Yeah.
for me, but
Yeah, if it was last year, at the end of maybe last year, I probably would have given that to you.
Mhm.
Yeah, but no, good points. Absolutely.
yeah.
How about
All
you,
right,
Dylan?
Dylan.
Who's 7?
7. I have Jay Love, old Jordan Love.
Wow.
Um, Yep.
Wow.
I've got him. I've got him in the top 10, baby.
Wow.
I've got him in the top 10.
No Caleb
I mean,
Williams, but we'll put fucking Jordan Love there.
oh,
Holy
I'm sorry.
shit.
The one that was ahead by 2 touchdowns against the 49ers, and then they just kind of blew a lead because of bad
One
defense.
season against 4 bad ones.
0 seasons in the NFL, Brian. Caleb Williams has 0, and you're about to
I would
roast
rather
me for
take
1
0
season?
seasons than
That doesn't
5
make sense.
seasons, but only one of them was
Mathematically,
good.
that makes 0 sense to me, so I'm not going to listen to anything you're about
There
to
are
say.
4 bad seasons. When he was riding the pine for Aaron Rodgers and he got in to play,
Yeah.
he looked
And then
terrible.
what happened when he actually became a starter? What happened?
He got
He
better.
took them to the NFC Championship.
Not number 7.
Or second round. Sorry.
Not better than Justin Herbert and Dak Prescott. Good. Like he was good, but he's not better than
I
those.
need one more year. I don't even know if I need a full year. I just need a
Well,
little
then
bit more out of Jordan Love.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had
agree.
him right on the cusp of my list, and I could even put him in my top 15 realistically.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same thing that Brian said about Caleb Williams. I'm gonna be the ahead of the curve here because I absolutely think Jordan Love, one, he's gonna finish better than Caleb Williams. That's not even close. Two, he's gonna be a top 10 for sure. If you look at once he figured it out, and he even admitted this, he said the first couple games, just like we saw in Pat Mahomes, it was year 3, and he was like, yeah, I just didn't understand the defense, and it finally clicked halfway through. Jordan Love said the exact same thing this year. And you know what happened after that clicked? He was top 10 in every stats in the NFL. Once it clicked, once he started understanding the defenses, oh, look, should have made it to the NFC Championship and should have made it to the Super Bowl. So that is what happened. I will stick to it. Jordan Love. And plus, if we run off intangibles, he's 6'5". He can run a 4.5 40. He's got a fucking whip of an arm. He's got all the intangibles. And yeah, he had to sit for a while, but he finally had his first full season. We don't know many QBs that their first full season are one quarter away from going to the Super Bowl. So I'm going to keep him hella high, and I'm ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, seventh is high. I looked it up because I was interested. He was 7th in pass yards. So
right.
I guess being 7th that's not as hot of a take as I initially thought. But he was
y'all were just discounting him. I mean,
9th in QBR. 9th in QBR. So
that's right. 9th in QBR.
I just need that little bit more oomph out of him, I think, just to get him.
I think people thought his initial 6 games were way worse than they actually were because the media really upplayed it because at the same time they were still trying to make sure Aaron Rodgers doesn't look like he's washed up like he is.
Yeah.
So they were really trying to play it like, oh, Jordan Love did terrible. And realistically, at that time, he was playing maybe the 20th best. But then, I'm saying, that last 8 games, he killed it. And no one really kind of noticed. But yeah, he really went off that last little bit. So I'm excited. I think he's going to finish in the top 10, and he's my head of the curve. And if you think that's bad, wait till you see who's 6. So.
All right.
All right, who's your 6, Dill? Give it to us. Let's just get it
Jared fucking Goff, baby. Here's Jared Goff, number 6 in the league. And here we go. Listen here. Okay, let me tell you. Good. I hope not, because once again, he probably should have won the fucking NFC Championship as well. So, Jared Goff, Sir Jared Goff. Yes, at the Rams, he wasn't great, but he did go to a Super Bowl. Brian had some really interesting takes on Dakota Rain Prescott. That you could say the same thing about Jared Goff, although Jared Goff's done it. He's went to a Super Bowl and an NFC Championship, and he's carried the team, which Dak has done none of the which because he's not that good.
Question for you.
So, yes.
Is Jared Goff your highest rated NFC quarterback, or is there one more or 2 more?
No. Jared Goff's he's my number 1. Brock Purdy's not even in the discussion. I don't even care about that. He's a fucking scrub. Jared Goff, I look in the same realm of all of these system QBs, the Tuas, the Brock Purdy's, the Dak Prescott's. I think he's just done the best. His resume shows he's done the best. And all of the teams, all those system QBs have all had good teams. Tua's got a great team. Brock's got a great team. Dak's got a great team. And they all they've all done well, but I think Jared Goff's resume is the best so far. Yes, Brock Purdy made it to the Super Bowl, but we'll see kind of how it is. I guess he's pretty even, but I just don't think what he's done is really that good. Like Brian has said about Brock, there's nothing you can watch in Brock and be like, wow, that was really impressive. Whereas Jared, I like the way he throws the ball. I like the way he sits in the pocket. Thank God he doesn't kind of run because I think he'd be terrible with that. But Jared's my number 6. I'm riding high on Jared. Let's go, baby.
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
I'm not gonna spend too long on this because I don't agree with my list. Uh, you could probably just take this player out and move all my picks up one, even though I don't
This is gonna be
necessarily agree totally on how all those would sit. But
You could have just looked at this, by the way, at
I
any
know,
time and
but
just switched
I'm
it
going
around.
based on what it says because I obviously picked this. Like,
Yeah, okay, let's
apparently
You
hear
don't
it.
have to say it though.
Yeah, you could have just switched in your head. Like it was totally
I
okay.
understand, but 6 is Baker Mayfield.
Oh my God. Mitch, we're getting
I don't
discredited
agree
even
with this
more.
though. I don't agree with this, okay? So I don't think Baker's top 15. I think I touched on it earlier, great athlete, can go in and play good football. But I don't know why he is at 6 on this list.
You
I
could
do
have
not.
just fucking moved. All right. All right. We'll
I
move
Yeah,
on.
don't
you could have
like I
just
said
looked and
though, I
just
would
slid
probably
him
just
right
move
out.
everyone else up one. Like,
Okay. We'll just move on, man.
yeah.
Um.
Hold on here.
Yeah,
Are you good,
I
Joe?
see him. All right.
You good, Dylan?
All
Yes,
right.
yes.
Well, it's going to be really interesting to like, if you look at the numbers and you just kind of looked at them, it's going to be really weird to look at Jared Goff and Baker Mayfield at 6.
I know.
Okay, at least
Especially
Jared
because
Goff went to a Super Bowl, and last year, especially if we're going off recency bias, like last year he did amazing. He was top
okay.
5 in every stat.
Okay.
Like I said,
Uh,
I like the
sure.
cheer for Baker just because of how dirty the Browns did him. And I think
Fair.
I just like how he acts as a person. Like I
Yeah.
think he's a good person. So
Uh, my number 6 is Joe Burrow.
Okay. Fair.
And I think, again, obviously we're here at the point where, top 5, top 6 guys are all really, really good. So there's not been a whole lot to say about these guys. We might move through them pretty quick, but I think my shade that I'm going to throw Joe Burrow is kind of leaving him out of the top 5. I think the 5 quarterbacks that I have above him outplay him and have outplayed him historically. And I think if we're removing one great season at LSU, I don't really know if you could say, hey, here's one season where Joe Burrow was the best quarterback in the league. And I don't even think there's a season where you could say it was 2 or 3, unfortunately. And so I think he's a little bit outside that top 5. I don't think his ceiling is higher than like 4 or 5 either.
yeah.
I think his floor is really low, and I think his ceiling is kind of around where he's at right here at number 6. And
Sure.
I mean, Mitch has had a pretty crazy list, so I don't want to assume anything. I'm assuming you guys are going to have Joe Burrow here coming up. So I'd be interested to hear what you guys have to say about him. But I got Joe Burrow at 6. I think he's got good arm talent. He's good for what he's doing. I think he's got a good offense around him where he'll put up numbers. But again, do I think he can carry his team to a Super Bowl and actually win it? I'm not sure you can do that in the Pat Mahomes era. So that's my number 6. And I will move on to number 5. Another guy that we talked about a little bit here, Justin Herbert at number 5. I'm trying not to judge him off of last year with the injuries. I'm trying not to judge him off of the year before or the year before that, even when he was a rookie and playing under Brandon Staley, who is probably one of the worst coaches I've ever seen, right up there with Adam Gase. Those two guys are just some of the like those two coaches are really, really fucking bad. So I'm not going to judge Justin Herbert based off of those because he is really, really, really good. His arm talent is really good. I think he'll end up being a guy like Matt Stafford that people look back on and they're like, yeah, he was really good. He threw the ball really well. He understood the game. And maybe he doesn't make it to a Super Bowl. Maybe he doesn't make an MVP run. But he'll be a guy who's always top 5, top 6 for me, And I think I think people are underestimating him and the Chargers a little bit. But I think Harbaugh is a really good shot to come in and bring him in and make him really good. And I know that the stuff surrounding him is that, oh, Harbaugh wants to run the ball, and absolutely they're going to run the ball. But they're more of a red zone running team. Like that's Harbaugh has always been red zone runs and goal line runs. And I think that's fine, but you got to remember when he was with Kaepernick was a top 10 quarterback passing, had really good QBR seasons. And so it's not unrealistic to think that Justin Herbert could step into that system and actually ball out and look like a really, really good quarterback, just like he should.
Yeah,
So number five.
I think we're basing it off of what he could do, especially
Mhm.
next year. I think this is probably where I would have him. But I think a lot of what everyone says about Justin Herbert is a lot of the what ifs, or this is what I think he could do, or the potential. And I just I don't want to put him there until he shows it. Like, yeah, he's been
Yeah.
injured. Yeah, he's had Brandon Staley. Yeah, whatever. Like, at the end of the day, like sometimes if you're bad, like you got to overcome that shit. And if you're top five, top six, you got to overcome some of the coaching stuff. You got to overcome being hurt a little bit. We all heard it the last year Tom Brady played. He played with a torn MCL all fucking year, and he won the Super Bowl. Oh my God, he's amazing. Let's suck his dick. Like, whatever. Okay, let's get it. So at the end of the day, like, yeah, like not everything's gonna be perfect, but if you're a top 10 QB, there's never everything's perfect. So I need to see more. But I
Yeah.
think he will. At the end of next year, all of your points, I agree.
Mhm.
With the new coaching change, all that, he's definitely going to be there because talent wise,
Yeah.
there's not much better.
Yeah. Jim made JJ McCarthy look good, and I don't like
Yeah,
JJ
fact.
McCarthy. So,
Yeah. By not throwing the ball more than 10 times most of the time.
yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
All right, for my number five, I have CJ Stroud.
Okay.
Okay.
I will say when he got drafted, when the Texans took him, I thought they had made like a terrible mistake. I thought he was going to be a huge bust. I just had zero faith in CJ Stroud. And then obviously last year he lit it up. Like he has so much potential. The Texans have really turned it around. I think that team is going to have so much success in the near future, and a lot of it's going to be contributed from him. Um, I think he shows a lot of knowledge behind the ball and knows what to look for, knows what to do. I went to one of his games last year, very creative, and just I changed my opinion on him. Just really, really good quarterback. I think he has so much potential. His ceiling is very high. I could see him moving up to two or three best quarterback in the league. Not next year, but I mean like throughout his career, I could see him getting up there. Um, I'm just very high on CJ Stroud. Of course, that could all change this season. He could lay an egg and be terrible, but I don't see that happening.
I
Nice.
like it. Yeah, I mean, we're all gonna have the same, obviously, five guys in this
Mhm.
random. Besides, fucking Mitch is gonna have. I know he's gonna fucking Brock Purdy at two because he's an idiot. Uh, I had Joe Burrow, like same everything that you said, Brian. I agree with. If you would have asked me probably 2 years ago, I would have had him at probably three. I think every year he's just slowly dropping.
Hmm.
I think one, I just don't ever think he's going to stay healthy. For some reason, he's just got that injury bug. It's always something. It's the elbow, the wrist, the knee, the ankle, the calf, something. I really like it. He was one of the only guys besides, I'd say, Josh Allen to really give Pat in the AFC a run. He was one of the only ones to ever beat them. That was a great
Yeah.
team. You know, they were a throw away from probably winning the Super Bowl. That one he just didn't see Jamar on that streak.
Yeah.
But I
And
think
that was
that
an
might
Aaron
be the
Donald pressure too. So
yeah, and
going
that might be
against
the
the
peak.
GOAT.
That might be it. Like that might be it for the Cincinnati. Just because there's no way they're going to be able to pay T. Higgins, Jamar, like that. You can't pay all those guys. So I think he will sadly slowly start sinking down the list. Maybe honestly, like Andy Dalton, for a little bit there with Cincinnati. It just couldn't get it done in prime time, but they were always a top 10 team, and then just kind of fell off. I hope that doesn't happen to Joe Burrow, but we'll see. I think he's kind of hit his ceiling, sadly.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, who you got it for?
I have Lamar Jackson. So
Interesting.
I was really back and forth. I'm
I didn't get that.
oh
Could you
sorry.
try again?
Sorry, Siri. Give me a second.
I didn't get that either, bro. You want to explain?
Yeah, so I was gonna have Lamar at three. Eventually we'll get to I have at three, but I chose to put Lamar there instead. Just because even what I'm seeing right now in the offseason, Lamar is trying to slim back down again, which I get it. Sure, he's going to go back to a little bit more of the rushing style, which I like. He's elusive, electric. But I don't see that being the longevity standpoint that I want Lamar to have in long into it, 10 years from now. So I think that kind of makes me a little bit sad, which means they're probably not going to pass as much. And I think he was really starting to come into his own as a passer. Now he's not. So yeah, that kind of made me drop him to 4.
All right. At 4 for me, I have Joe Burrow. Sort of like you guys touched on already.
Yeah.
Like you said, probably would have been higher, like maybe even top 2, 2 or 3 years ago. But I think, like you guys said, he's probably going to start moving slowly down the list every
Yeah.
year. I mean, he's probably still going to hover around that like 4 to 6 for a little bit, but I don't know that he's going to crack into that top 3 anytime soon. Could be wrong, but I think he's just going to hover there for a little bit and then slowly move down closer to 10 and whatnot from there. So,
All right. Yeah. At 4, I have CJ Stroud.
Nice.
This
We
is,
just
I
swapped.
think,
Yeah.
one of the things that I looked at when making this list is, what quarterback, if I could have any quarterback to build my team around right now, who would I pick? And CJ Stroud he showed enough in that 1 year with the Texans to make me believe in him as a starting quarterback. I would take him over Herbert and Burrow because of the injury concerns. I don't necessarily think his arm talent is anything special or even better than those two quarterbacks, but I think the durability is there. I think he balls at just a really high level.
Yep.
And he's low key an athlete. I think one of the things that coming out of college I was a little bit disappointed with is how much he kind of like stood around the pocket looking like a statue. And you didn't see that at all with the Texans. And what I'm starting to wonder is if that's kind of what Ohio State wanted him to do. And that might have even hurt his draft stock because had we seen that he was able to kind of extend plays and command the offense in his way that he did it in Houston, I think it wouldn't have been a doubt that he was better than Bryce Young. But we didn't really get to see that until he went to an offense that kind of let him be himself, and himself is a good baller. Put that on a t-shirt. Himself is a good baller. So, but yeah, he's really good. He's going to be in my top 5 this year, and I think next year he's going to stick around in that same range. I think this is a bad year to be low on CJ Stroud if you're not a fan of him yet, because he's going to have another really good year, and he's got 3 really good weapons, along with adding like Joe Mixon. It's just going to be a fun offense. They're going to be electric. Yeah, and then at number 3, I have Gardner Minshew.
Imagine.
I'm just kidding. At number 3, this is where I've got Josh Allen.
That's surprising to me.
Yeah, so fans of Snook are gonna know Brian. Sorry, holy fuck. I'll censor that. Fans of me will know that I'm a really big Josh Allen fan, and I've been a fan of him. He was a guy I was a little bit ahead of the curve on. A guy that after his rookie year, I really saw that he was a good quarterback despite the decision-making issues. And I've been reaping the benefits of that since, because he's been a top 2 quarterback most years. I think he does things that no other quarterback on this list can do. And that includes the guys that I obviously have above him. He is just built like a completely different animal. Him and Anthony Richardson are the only quarterbacks that I think can truck a player and have it be like, okay, that makes sense. Like, he can put his shoulder down and bulldoze. He's fast. He's got the strongest arm in the league. That's not even a debate. He's, easily got a better arm in terms of arm strength than, again, the guys I have at 1 and 2 and everybody else below him. He is a Super Bowl capable quarterback. I know some people in this podcast seem to think that he's outside of the top 10, which I think is absurd. But I think he is a guy who's going to prove everybody wrong this year. I think there were maybe
That's what they say every year, Brian. This is Josh Allen's year. This is Josh Allen's year.
That is true. That's a great point. You don't have Benny Mitch. That's a great one.
So here's the thing. Again, there's a chance that the Bills finish bottom of their division. Like, it's not outside.
There's the Jets. Okay, let's not forget that.
But it is not wins. Wins are not necessarily the only thing that matters with the quarterback. I think Josh Allen is going to continue to look really, really good. And, maybe they won't win a Super Bowl. Maybe they won't make the playoffs. I don't know how the Bills are going to do this year. They're such a weird team on paper right now.
Mhm.
But Josh Allen is going to be a top 5 quarterback next year. Like, there's no chance that he regresses outside of top 5. He is just that fucking good. And he has been that good since his rookie year, which is a similar setup in terms of the players and the things that were happening there. I'm not hearing promising things from the Bills camp. Hearing that like Chase Claypool is the number 1 receiver right now in the Bills training camp is a bad sign. But again, it's Josh Allen. He's gonna ball out. He's gonna be really good. He's gonna be a top 5 quarterback in almost every statistical category as long as he stays healthy and as long as the Bills continue to look to build around him. He's really good. And this top 3, it's really hard because you kind of know who number 1's going to be. And so it's really just a debate on 2 and 3. And ultimately, I would have Josh Allen at number 2 almost every other year except for this one. And it was a tough choice, but yeah, I think there's just 2 players who are better than him this past year, and I think looking back on it, these 2 players have probably been better than him the entire time. So Josh Allen at 3. Mitch, I think it's up to you now. I
Yep.
think you're.
I know you guys aren't gonna agree with this, but I have Brock Purdy at 3. I think
Jesus
just how
Christ.
he is currently playing.
Terrible.
He came in, don't get me
So
wrong,
bad.
definitely a system quarterback, okay, but I think he is the best system quarterback in the league right now. 100%.
God, no
Knows what he's
chance.
doing, has a great understanding of the game. He,
Not really, but okay.
if you say so, but I think he doesn't get hurt last season. He's going to the Super Bowl. I mean, the Eagles beat him because they got him hurt, basically. He hurt his, elbow or something? Or shoulder,
Yeah.
whatever it was.
It
I
was
think he
elbow.
leads them to the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and last season obviously goes right back to the NFC Championship game, takes them to the Super Bowl, and goes to overtime and loses. I think the way he's playing currently, he is definitely a top 3 quarterback.
Yikes.
Listen, I don't know that he's ever gonna be number 2, number 1. He might fall off this year, could, but I think the way that he is currently playing football, I think he deserves at least a top 3 spot.
You don't think it's because they have the best roster in the entire NFL?
I don't
You
even
think
know
has
that it's
anything to do with
that.
it?
I think he's just a good
It's
quarterback.
most certainly the best roster in the NFL.
The best coach, too.
The best coach, the best offensive coach, the best offensive
I'm just saying
scheme. You could fucking put Brian Snook in there, and he would be
I know
just
about that. I just think he has potential and is going to be great. He's going to win Super Bowls. He
like every
reminds me of
Brock
a
Purdy
Tom Brady,
fan.
honestly.
Like what? Oh God, get out! Don't compare him to
Seriously though, like
Brady.
Tom Brady got in to
Oh God,
a team with the best coach, the best players, and Tom Brady has to be considered one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback of all time.
yeah. Well, I don't think Brock.
Seriously, I know you guys don't like
should be
Tom
in that
Brady. I don't
same-
like him either, but like you can't
Yeah,
deny
we
he's a
can't
good
put these 2
quarterback.
guys in the same category.
You're putting Brock Purdy in the same conversation as Tom Brady.
Yeah,
I'm saying
Super Bowls,
he could.
0.
He
I will
has
not.
that.
I will not do
Brock
that.
Purdy has that potential to get there.
Because
Obviously,
he
a
played-
long career, but like
But I don't see what do you see that actually looks good that he's doing, not the
I
when
think
he
he
throws
plays good, smart football.
he throws a 3-yard route to Debo and Debo turns
That's
into
all
a
Tom Brady
50-yard
ever
game.
did.
Yeah, that's why I
And
don't
Tom
like
Brady,
Tom
And
Brady.
that's so
But
okay.
but also when Tom Brady didn't do that, he was making those plays that needed to be made and winning those important games.
I would like to
Purdy's
pause.
not doing
I would like to pause just for a moment because I would also like to say the thing that really, and you're not the first person to make the Purdy Brady comparison, obviously. But people are forgetting that when Brady was this age, Brady had like Randy Moss on his team and he was throwing accurate deep balls. Like,
Yeah.
Purdy is not able to
Purdy
do
has
at this
done that,
point.
not
That's
as
not something that you can develop in the future. You're not going to
he's
get better at
he's
throwing the
doing that
deep ball if
just
you're not good at it as a rookie. Like, look at Daniel Jones. Look at guys who struggle with throwing the deep ball. They do not improve
Brock
no
Purdy
matter
can
how
hit
many
the deep
years in the
ball, it's
league
just
they
not
are.
as consistent, I would say, as Tom
Yeah, it's
Brady
not, he
did at
doesn't
that
ever. They
exact
don't.
time. But I think Brock Purdy can still be the guy to hit the deep ball when he needs to. He can throw accurate passes. He knows how to read a defense. He knows how to lead an offense. Like He
He
sure he
missed the
has
deep
great
ball in the Super
players,
Bowl.
but
That's why they
a lot of the
lost.
best teams do. Like a lot of good quarterbacks succeed because they have good players surrounding them. It's not like good quarterbacks succeed just by themselves. Like they have good players
Yeah,
surrounding them.
he's not everyone else in the top of this list makes their team better. He's not making that team better. They're making
I
him
think
better.
he is.
No, 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 no. He's getting carried by a
For
team
the
where they're
style
top
of
five in all of their positions.
football that they run, I don't think besides those pocket passer quarterbacks, a lot of the quarterbacks now coming into the league are those mobile QBs. I don't think a lot of quarterbacks right now could go into the 49ers and have
Oh my God. You just said you don't think a lot of QBs could go to the 49. Daniel Jones could go and done the same thing,
the
probably
pocket
better.
passers. Yes, Daniel Jones is not a mobile quarterback.
What do you mean? He rushes.
What?
He rushes all the time. He's like one
He
when he's
scrambles all
healthy.
the time. He does not
That's a
rush.
mobile QB. What do you mean?
He scrambles and panics behind the pocket.
Daniel Jones has one of the longest runs in
Yeah,
quarterback
he had a
history.
98-yard rush that he fell on and should have had 100.
One time.
Yeah,
Wow.
Daniel Jones has one of the
Great.
best.
He
Has
averages like 60 yards rushing. That's a mobile QB.
I disagree.
Buddy.
What?
Listen, I'm just saying, I think Brock Purdy has the potential to at least be a top 3 quarterback based on how he's played so far in his career. It could obviously change. He could drop way out of the list.
I
He
don't
could
think
get
we
in
should
bed,
put
he
this
could do
online.
whatever. Like
Mitch is going to get absolutely roasted having Josh Allen at 11 and now Brock Purdy and Tom Brady compare. Oh boy, this is getting bad.
I want to just like obviously I don't even know if we got to go this deep into the stats, but PFF says that Brock Purdy hit this 49ers are last in the league on pass plays per game last year. They were 32nd out of 32 on pass plays per game. So they trusted their quarterback to throw it less than every other team.
Okay, I'm looking at it right now. Last season, during the regular season, Brock Purdy led the league at yards per attempt.
He's efficient. Yeah, he was number one in
And
efficiency.
passer rating.
But 30, that's not what I am seeing. I'm currently seeing him at number 3 in that number 1 in efficiency, which is a good counterpoint for him being 32nd in pass plays per game.
But the
It is
passer rating
impressive to be that low and to also have like top 10 stats.
but it's
what
blown
that
up
tells
so
me,
much.
but right, that tells me that they run the ball a lot with Christian
It's
McCaffrey.
inflated. Yeah, it's such an inflated stat because he's throwing these short little dink ones at his great team that they're all top 5 in their positions around him are carrying. You can't name another team that has top 5 receivers, running backs, linemen, like there's no tight end. Like there's no
I
other
think
team.
by how Brock Purdy has been playing the past 2 seasons, I think he deserves a top 3 spot. This year could totally be different. He could be 32 for all I know. I have no idea, but I just based on how he's currently playing, I personally think he's a top 3.
I think if you call it all 32 GMs, they would probably most of them would pass. Like he would be somewhere
If you
in
say
the
so.
bottom. I almost know so, Mitch. The fact that you have a guy.
That's just my personal opinion.
Oh God.
17th in interception in their percentage of like interceptable passes too is pretty bad. Just like all around, he like and you look at his stats and it's like he is like number 1 in efficiency, but then he'll be like 14th in completion percentage. Like there's like weird stats on his thing where it's just like those stats are weird because if he was on another team, he would probably be somewhere between like 14 and 20. And he's on the 49ers with the best coach, and he's got the best game scripts, and he's got all of the best weapons. And so it's like, wow, why is he like a top 5 quarterback in every stat? But then you kind of break down the analytics, and he's like 14th, 20th, 17th. It's like, oh, that's because he's probably not actually the 3rd best quarterback or the 1st best.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I think
I get your points. Like I'm not saying bad points. I'm just saying like
we wanted real stuff, not just you saying in my opinion,
this is real. Seriously, like by the way he's been playing, being able to bring his team to back-to-back NFC championships and a Super Bowl, like and being able to compete against Pat Mahomes in the Super Bowl going to overtime, like not any quarterback can just do that. Like
I think he's like the casual fans like favorite.
Who do you
Yeah,
got
I,
at three,
I
Dylan?
think I mean there's a reason I wanted to give him a shout out because they're obviously being able to win games is important too.
Yeah,
So I don't want to like completely just be like, oh yeah, he's terrible all the time, when he is winning games. But
Granted, I probably have him
three,
a little high, but still, I think based on how he's played the past two seasons,
yeah. I
I
think
think I
he's a
think for right
fringe
now,
15 guy.
I
Fringe
think for
15.
right now, three is fine. Realistically,
15.
no, I don't know about that, but
Definitely 15 to 20. On actually
I'd put
intangibles,
him
like
five
what
to
he does.
10.
I could see him in the Goff range. I could see him 9, 10, 11, 12. I could see him in that
Yeah,
range.
that's fine with me.
I don't know if I can see him top five. Like I actually, there's just no way he's top five. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it's just
That's
can't.
just where I have him right now.
All right.
Well,
Realistically,
let's start
Yeah.
spending more time talking about
yeah.
fucking Brock Purdy,
Go
please.
ahead,
Oh,
Dylan. Who's
God.
your number
Let's
three?
wrap this up.
Huh?
Who's left?
Dylan has
My number
three,
two.
and
My
then
I can go ahead and just give you my one and two. It's Pat Mahomes is one and Josh Allen's my two. I mean, like Brian has already alluded to,
did you have
the order you have back and forth, whatever. It's like I have Pat Mahomes one, Josh Allen two. Like I get it. Someone's gonna have whatever, but I'm not gonna have Josh Allen at 11 because I'm not an idiot. So that's just me. I think if like Brian has said, if Pat Mahomes wasn't in the AFC, we'd probably be talking about Josh Allen like Pat Mahomes. It's just unfortunate. Josh will always have to go through Pat, kind of like Peyton Manning, Big Ben always had to go through Tom, and
Yeah.
like we could be talking about them in the same light if they didn't have to go through Tom Brady every freaking year. So,
Yeah, good call.
those I think those and maybe like the Lamars are a far and away like the standout best QBs. You call every GM, they will give you the bag to get them. So those are just my top guys.
I assume you have Pat Mahomes and Lamar at one and two, Brian.
Yeah, and I just obviously, you do a quarterback ranking list, and everybody who does a quarterback ranking list, Mahomes is going to be number one. So it's not surprising, and there's no, you're not going to hear that kind of hot take from us.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk a little bit about Lamar being number two. I'm currently living in the city of Baltimore, so there is a little bit of a bias. But Lamar Jackson, I think, two-time MVP. That's a really hard accomplishment to kind of get. And then you also got to think about the years that Lamar has been healthy. He has been like the standout number two quarterback behind Patrick Mahomes. And the years that like Josh Allen or, other players have kind of like come in and taken that number two quarterback spot, Joe Burrow, uh, those are seasons that Lamar was hurt. And so assuming that he's healthy, there's no doubt in my mind that he's number two over Josh Allen at this point. Um,
Yeah, as much as I hate
and
to admit it, I agree. Like I, as you guys know, I hate Lamar Jackson with passion. I
For no
hate him
reason,
because
by the
he's
way.
good. Hate him
Division
because he's good.
rival has a lot to do with it. I don't like mobile quarterbacks as much. I am very much a believer in the pocket passer, and I know the league's evolving and the mobile QBs are going to
Better.
eventually
Yep,
take
just say
over
better.
the league. Like most teams are probably going to have mobile QBs going forward. So it's more of that like adapting to the change, I guess. Um, and I don't know. I hate Lamar Jackson just because
He's good.
what
Incredible.
I don't even know. Like I just don't like the guy, but I can't deny
Oh,
he's
man.
he's a good quarterback. Like he can
I
play
know what the
football.
comments are going to
Like
say on this video, I fear.
Yeah.
like you said though, Brian, like two MVP seasons, that's very hard to do. Like if he didn't have to go through Pat Mahomes, he'd probably be a multi Super Bowl winning
Yeah.
quarterback right now. Like
Yeah.
he's there. Like he's
He also,
got
yeah,
the weapons, he's
he would
got
have beat
the
the
talent to
49ers this
do it.
year.
Like he can beat even Pat Mahomes to go to the
Yeah.
Super Bowl here in the
I
future. I
think
don't
I think
deny
that
that
is
it
my
can
one
happen.
knock. That's my one knock on Lamar. Is very similar to I forgot who else we were talking about in Dak. Just the playoff success. Both these times now he's been number one. They lost to the Titans 3 years ago. They had all the hype in the world. They were supposed to cakewalk it to the freaking Super Bowl. They get waxed by the Titans. Last year they were still the number one team. It was supposed to be a really good game. Lamar does awful again. So I think that's my only knock is that he just, for whatever reason, that when it gets time where he needs to be Lamar and everyone knows he needs to be Lamar, he just doesn't. He just doesn't do it for whatever reason. I don't know, like he tries to change who he is in the biggest games. Like he doesn't do what everyone knows he can and should do, which is
Yeah.
my only knock.
The AFC Championship was definitely a pretty weak Lamar Jackson performance.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But he did just come off it, like he played really well against the Texans. So,
Mhm.
you know, you got to hope every year he gets a little bit better at those clutch moments. But, you know, again, it's insane how stacked the AFC is with quarterbacks. All of my
Agreed.
top 5 are in the AFC.
Yep.
And honestly, there's a scenario where 10 out of 10 of the top 10 quarterbacks are in the AFC. You know, I could see that
Besides
happening
Brock
in a couple
Purdy.
years.
So.
Yeah, well,
No, but
some of
I
us had
agree.
better
Like
takes than others today, I
the
fear.
the AFC is stacked on quarterbacks. So like you said, you could easily make a case for the top 10 in the league right now being from the AFC. Like
Yeah.
at least the
Makes even
top
more,
5, even like
even worse of a case for Brock Purdy and that watered down fucking NFC.
maybe.
All
But
right, and then I assume we have all the same number one. Is it
Yeah.
even like? Is it
Yeah,
even
like
worse?
Mahomes. Mahomes.
yeah.
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 Fuck you, Pat Mahomes. You're the best. We're not even going to spend our time with you. Fuck you. You're just the best. We get it.
Yeah. He's my GOAT. He's my GOAT,
Absolutely.
man. He's
Yeah.
the best player I've ever seen play football. You know, sort of LeBron kind of thing where it's like you just watch and you know, and you're like, there's nobody who can do what he's doing, and he's
Yeah.
really good. And you know, this is a good time to brag about the fact that I did sort of call him being good. I said he is going to be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
He said
And
that during his draft. I will attest. He did tell me that.
yeah, I said that watching him at Texas Tech, I was like, there's like he has an arm of an NFL quarterback, and he's doing things that I've never seen on a football field, like moving around the pocket in a way that I've never seen. And he wasn't a rushing quarterback. And so I think a lot of people were like at that moment thinking, hey, scrambling quarterbacks have to be rushing quarterbacks, and that is not the case. And Mahomes has shown that the only thing more valuable than a quarterback who can throw or a quarterback who can run is a quarterback who can do both without having to commit to one. And Mahomes is sneaky athletic. People are now talking about his dad bod and whatever, and you know, he's athletic. He can play.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that will forever go down as my best take is predicting Mahomes to be a top 5 quarterback out of Texas Tech at a time when he wasn't even projected to be a first round pick. Like we didn't know where he was going to go.
Mhm.
That I believe was the Deshaun Watson draft as well, and it was just people weren't sure about where these quarterbacks were going to go, and Mahomes wasn't even being talked about as a top 2 pick in that class, and he ended up going to my least favorite team in the league. So that's been brutal to watch. Is like you're right on you like the pick is correct, the take is correct.
Mhm.
But then of course you get burnt because they're on a team where you have to be like, oh yeah, I kind of regret like liking him because now he's on a team that I hate. And you know, that's going to be true forever because he's making $600 million for the next 10 years. So yeah, that's a wrap on that, fellows. That was a good discussion.
Yeah, pretty happy with that. I mean, I think we all had some interesting takes there, some of us more than others, but
God,
um,
you're sucked, Mitch. I'm sorry to tell you. Bro.
not
Jesus
all of them were
Christ.
bad. I think some of them were actually good and accurate, but
Comment down below who
yeah,
had the best takes
who had
today.
the
And
best, who had the
comment your
worst.
top 10. Comment your top 10, your top 15.
Exactly. Tell us who you like, who you disagree with. Let us know who.
Just tell Mitch how bad it was, guys. Just tell him the truth, please, God, please.
But yeah, look forward to your feedback, and we will see you guys next time. See ya.